Full flight in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Today we're going to be taking to the skies in a Boeing 737-800 for a 4.5-hour journey from Istanbul Ataturk International LTFM to Dubai International OMDB Airport. Along the way we'll be flying over a lot of stuff. If I'm not mistaken, we're going to be crossing the not crossing the Arabian Gulf, but we'll be flying over Bahrain, Doha, Turkey, and just a lot of stuff, okay? Trust me. As always, we're going to be trying to follow real-world procedures as much as we can and utilizing the latest weather data to ensure the most realistic experience possible. Whether you're an aviation enthusiast or just curious what it's like to fly a plane, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. So, fasten your seatbelts, store your tray tables, and let's get ready for takeoff. Let's hop into the flight deck. As you can see, cold and dark state of the 737-800. Let's get this plane configured. We're gonna go up to the overhead here. First things first, turn on the battery, throw that cover down, and connect the ground power. And then it's just a case of making way from left to right. So first we're gonna look up to the left here, IRSs, switch that to nav. Come over here, yaw damper can go on. Navigation should stay as is. The yaw damper is gonna flick itself off, ignore that. Fuel pumps can go on. Lights, I don't think they're required right now, but let's just turn this on a bit. Why not? Why not? Emergency lights can go to armed. Close that. Fasten seatbelt signs can be on. Crew chime can go on. Okay, all good. Window heats, we're gonna have to turn those on, and turn on the probe heats. Turn on the hydraulic pumps, anti-ice. Let's turn that on because we're gonna be cruising at a quite high altitude today. I think around 36,000 feet if I'm not mistaken. We're going to double check with the flight plan later. Moving here, all is good. Packs should be off, APU bleed off, engine bleeds are that, yes. And let's set this to the cruising altitude today, which I assume is roughly 36,000 feet. Alright, lights are steady. Okay, let's head back over here and just give it a second to warm up. Alright, we have requested the boarding and you can hear the trucks warning in the distance. We're just going to continue setting up the aircraft before we go outside for views. So let's turn on the master caution. Auto throttle on. Flight directors can go on. Get rid of that. Okay, I'm going to do the FMC in a bit. Moving our way down here. Everything else looks good. Going to go here to the TCAS. Turn that to TA transmit and receive. Okay, TCAS has been set. Everything else looks good. Now, give me a while as I configure the FMC. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that is the FMC all configured. As we can see, we're going to be taking off the runway 36 and just following that path there and on to Dubai. Again, cruising altitude has been confirmed as 36,000 feet. Alright, 36,000 feet, looking good. Auto alarm, everything else looks good as is. I will just turn on the logo lights just because I like having them on. As we can see, our baggage is still being loaded. Alright, I'm gonna cut here and I will get back to you once boarding has been completed. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, boarding has been completed. So we are now going to be starting up the APU and basically getting ready for pushback. So to start the APU on this aircraft, you just take the master switch, flick that to start. And then you just wait for the APU gen to light up. As you can see, the APU has started up and we have the generator off warning there. So let's flick this to the APU gens. Now the aircraft is on APU power. We are also going to turn on the APU bleed. And let's disconnect the ground power unit. We can set parking brakes. and remove the wheel chocks. We are now ready for pushback. Alright, the pushback tug has been connected, and the gear is now being locked, and we'll get the pushback underway. Alright, the tug has been locked in, and they've asked us to release the parking brakes, so let's go do that.
Release parking brakes, please.
Yes, we get it.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at wheel.
Alright, we've been given the all clear to start the engines, so as usual, to start the engines, we're going to turn on the anti-collision lights, which is basically the beacon light on this Boeing aircraft. We're going to go down, up here actually, switch the ignition to the right, flick engine number 2 to ground. And then we're going to observe right over here. As we can see, the EGT climb up, and the N1 increase again. Once it goes around 1 is when you can put in the fuel. Alright, as you can see, engine number 2 is climbing properly, so I think that's a good engine start right there. Alright, to start engine number 1, it's the same process as before. Come up here, switch the ignition to the left, flick engine number 1 to ground.
Please set parking brakes.
And the pushback has been completed, so they've asked us to set the parking brakes.
Waiting your confirmation for a good engine start.
Let's just get that out of the way.
To ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
Unlocking gear.
Alright, as we can see, engine number 1 also has a successful start. The N1 has built up to 20.9 there, which is perfectly fine. We're going to go up here, and now we can turn on the taxi lights and the runway turn-off lights. Since both the engines are now available, we can also set the PAX to auto. With that being said, I think we can now turn off APU bleed, and we can turn on the aircraft's generators, and the aircraft now it's on its own power, and we can turn off the APU. The aircraft is now fully on its own power, and I think we are ready for a taxi. So let's begin our taxi. We're gonna just taxi out to runway 36, and let's begin our taxi. Runway 36, here we come. So just increase the throttle.
We're about to begin the safety demo.
Really sensitive aircraft, the Boeing 737 as well. All these narrow bodies are really easy to taxi, but this one is really twitchy on the wheel tiller there. So I think we have a the taxi is definitely longer than we had back at Karachi, but still fairly short considering what other airports taxi times are like. I have personally been to this airport once in my life when I traveled there last year on Turkish Airlines. Beautiful airport, beautiful arrival and departures, and seeing all those aircrafts lined up on the ramp. It's a sight. It's a pretty sight. It's a pretty sight, I'll tell you that for free. I have flown on FlyDubai once in my life, which was a long time ago, and well, now we're here in the simulator recreating all those memories.
Demonstration, and we need your attention while we take you through the safety equipment on board this Boeing 737-800. You'll find a safety card in.
We are going to want to turn right up on this junction as we make our way to runway 36. The 737 is a very fun aircraft to hand fly as well, so on this departure I might hand fly it up to, I'd say 5,000 feet. Again, we'll see how nice I feel as I fly it. Really foggy morning here in Istanbul. Local time is, I think, 6:44. I don't know if it's that Zulu time or local time, but I'd assume that's local time given the conditions here.
Your seat pocket, indicating the exit routes, oxygen masks,
And while we do our taxi, we can also set flaps. So let me just head on over here and set flaps to 10.
life jackets. It also shows the brace position you must adopt if you hear brace, brace.
Drifting a bit to the right there, gonna straighten out. And we are going to turn right on this next taxiway. I think the runway is right there, so I want to try and get as close as possible without actually turning onto the runway. Yes, that is the runway right there. So we are going to be turning right on this taxi up ahead. Going a bit fast, we're going to slow down back to 13 knots. That's the runway there, acknowledge that, verified. And we're going to turn right over here.
There are 8 emergency exits, 2 doors at the rear of the cabin, 4 window exits in the center of the cabin, and 2 doors at the front of the cabin. Floor-level lighting will guide you to an exit. Please take time to locate your nearest exit.
Just gonna taxi down to the end of the runway. Before we turn on for takeoff, I can set auto brakes to RTO. Fuel's looking good. I'm gonna double check if I have fuel in the center tanks. Turn on fuel pumps for center and enable crossfeed. There we go. That should allow us access to all the fuel on board. Alright, runway 36 is right here on our left. I think I can turn to the left here. Yeah, I think that should be appropriately long enough instead of having to taxi down all the way to the end there. So let's turn to the left. Perfect, right at the edge of the runway. Beautiful. We are going to hold short and light up the aircraft as usual, and then prepare for a rolling takeoff. Just gonna hold short and set parking brakes. Gonna go up here, turn on the landing lights, and flick the strobes, flick the position lights to strobes. So disconnect the parking brake, and just get it set to RTO, runway takeoff. 6:48 Zulu is local time. I don't know if it's Zulu or local time again. Could be any. But yeah, let's roll onto the runway and get ready for takeoff. Flaps have been set. I'm just gonna set this. I'm pretty sure it auto sets to the V2 speed once you rotate, but I'm just gonna set that to 220 knots myself manually. Everything else is looking good. Looking good, looking good. Okay. Alright, we have a fairly straightforward takeoff here. And we're supposed to take off and go into a nice steep right turn. I don't know if it's steep or not, but it's a right turn. Let's line up. Runway 36 at Istanbul. Okay, I'd say that's a fairly decent lineup. Throttles can go up to around 50%, I'd say. 53.1, close enough. Alright, engines seem to be stabilizing. Engines have been stabilized. No warning lights, everything is good. Airspeed is alive. Toga. knots. 80 knots. Acknowledged. V1, rotate. really sensitive on the stick there. Positive climb, called there. And gear can go up. Like I said, aircraft is really fun to hand fly. So we're just gonna keep it there. If I could turn on speed. Let's see. But I have speed. Alright, let's slow our ascent rate down because we will stall. And let's slow down. We're supposed to be above 2000. Let's bank right. Again, hand flying the aircraft still. Just align the airspeed to come up. We've put one notch of flaps up. So if I'm not mistaken, flaps should be at 5 right now. Oh no, that's back down. Flaps 5, 1. Alright, flaps are at 2 if I'm not mistaken right now. Yeah, I realized. Okay. Let's level out the aircraft. Okay, and try and maintain a vertical speed of around 1500. Again, hand flying this. Very beautiful departure here at Istanbul. Trying to bring the nose down a bit. Again, hand flying. Alright, I think that's good enough. Let's bring in V speed. Vertical speed. Let's set that to 1500 and turn on LNAV. Picks it up beautifully. We can increase the speed to 240 knots. And let's bring flaps all the way up now. And with that being said, that has been a beautiful departure out of Istanbul. Banking to the right here. I'm pretty sure that is the Black Sea if my geography does not fail me. Alright, we're clear of 5,000 feet, still climbing grade at 1500 as we continue our turn. A very cloudy departure here at Istanbul. As you can see, just very beautiful weather though. Cloudy, but beautiful. As you can see, there's cloud formations there. Awesome. Alright, so we're clear of 6,800 feet, ladies and gentlemen. I will now cut the video here and I will catch you at the top of descent.